It's not by chance that you're viewing this video. There's a reason you're here. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the timing of your life and know that you're being led to where you're meant to be. As you stumble on this video, perhaps not by chance, it will serve to awaken your spirit. Beloved chosen one, there is a truth your soul has always carried, a remembrance that transcends the boundaries of time. You are standing on the threshold of divine elevation, for God is preparing to lift you above every limitation ever spoken over your life. Beyond every label, every doubt, every restriction, and every environment that once sought to confine your greatness. Before we proceed, pause for a moment and draw in a breath. Not merely with your lungs, but with the depths of your spirit. What follows is not simply a transmission of information, it is a sacred activation, an awakening designed to align you with the frequency of your divine purpose. Before we venture further, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe, not as an act of routine engagement, but as a declaration of resonance. For this message is not mere content, it is confirmation. It is a divine reminder to the chosen ones who have felt the stirring, the undeniable shift within their spirit. To every soul who has offered love, support, and faithfulness, whether through your presence, your prayers, or your generosity, I speak blessings upon you. Know that your energy is seen, your devotion is felt, and your alignment is deeply honored. And now, to those who sense that this message speaks directly to their spirit, I invite you to type 77 in the comments below. That number is not random, it is a spiritual proclamation, a symbolic decree that you are prepared to ascend, to be elevated, to transcend every ceiling and every limitation that has ever attempted to define or diminish your destiny. Not every listener will journey to the conclusion of this message, for only those who are spiritually attuned and divinely aligned will be able to receive and comprehend its depth. Those who remain until the end are the ones through whom divine clarity, sacred confirmation, and profound spiritual awareness will flow. Revelations concerning the very elevation that God Himself is orchestrating within their lives. Understand that this message is not something to be heard once and then forgotten. It is not a mere sequence of words or a fleeting moment of inspiration. Rather, it is a living expression of divine truth, a spiritual blueprint continually unfolding and evolving in real time, designed to guide the soul toward higher dimensions of purpose and awakening. Therefore, return to this message whenever your spirit feels the inner pull, for each encounter with it will unveil a new dimension of revelation. Every revisit will peel back another veil, revealing wisdom and understanding that were hidden until your soul was ready to receive them. Now, beloved, let us journey even deeper into the mystery that awaits. Chapter 1. They tried to define you before you knew yourself. From the earliest moments of your existence, before the awareness of your own identity had even begun to form, there were voices, both seen and unseen, that sought to define who you were and who you were allowed to become. Before you could comprehend the vastness of your own being, others attempted to construct boundaries around your essence, shaping your name, your manner, your thoughts, and your sense of worth through the narrow lens of their own limitations. They endeavored to mold your individuality into something digestible, acceptable, and easily contained within the confines of their understanding. They wished to shape your voice so that it would echo their comfort, to guide your beliefs so they would align with their fears, to train your behavior so it would not disrupt their order, and to influence your self-perception so you would never outgrow their approval. In doing so, they projected their insecurities onto your innocence. They placed the weight of their unhealed fears upon your fearless heart. They cast the shadows of their restrictions upon the limitless expanse of your potential. They confined your boundless spirit within the smallness of their understanding, and then they called it normal. They said things like, "You're too sensitive. You think too much. You dream too big. You're not being realistic. Stay in your place." But what they labeled as too much was, in truth, the sacred overflow of your spiritual awareness in motion. What they dismissed as unrealistic was in fact the eternal memory of a soul that remembered where it came from, a spirit that had glimpsed its divine origin and could not unsee it. Your vision was never meant to align with the perception of those whose sight could not pierce beyond the visible. They were not describing you when they called you too much. They were unconsciously revealing the boundaries of their own belief. Their critique was not a mirror of your inadequacy, but a reflection of their confinement. In their discomfort, they attempted to compress your calling to the dimensions of their comprehension. They recognized your light, and in its brilliance, their shadows became visible. Your radiance made them aware of what within them had long been dormant or denied. And yet, even in those moments when you could not name what you felt, even in your childhood, when you would sit quietly, gazing out of windows, feeling a mysterious pull towards something greater, your spirit already knew that you were destined for more. You often felt like an outsider, but not because you were misplaced or incomplete. It was because you were never meant to fully belong to the structures of this world. Your essence belonged to a higher realm. Your soul carried a vibration that did not resonate with the frequency of your surroundings. Your divine purpose transcended the expectations that others had attempted to place upon you. You tried to adapt. You tried to compress your brilliance into a smaller shape. You tried to silence the wisdom that rose naturally within you. You tried to dim your light so that those around you could remain unchallenged by their own shadows. But no matter how earnestly you attempted to shrink yourself, your authenticity still found its way through, shining quietly, steadily, insistently, speaking louder than your silence ever could. Even in the spaces where your voice remained silent, where your lips uttered no words, your very presence altered the atmosphere. The unseen energy of your being carried weight, a vibration that stirred hearts, softened tensions, and quietly shifted the spiritual climate of every room you entered. Even when doubt crept into your mind and you questioned your worth, others could still sense the undeniable strength and resilience woven into your spirit. Even in moments when you wrestled with uncertainty about your own identity, when confusion clouded your perception of self, the divine imprint upon your life remained unmistakable. God's mark upon you was never dependent on your awareness of it. It existed before your understanding, before your confidence, before your comprehension of who you truly are. Your difference was never a defect, it was a divine distinction. It was not a flaw to be corrected, but a signature to be honored, a sacred identifier that revealed your spiritual origin and purpose. Your uniqueness was a signal from the heavens, a celestial stamp declaring that you were chosen, that your soul had been entrusted with an assignment unlike any other. It was evidence that your journey would never mirror the path of the ordinary, for you were never designed to blend into the patterns of this world. Hear this truth deeply. You were never meant to fit in. You were destined to rise above conformity, to interrupt cycles that had persisted for generations, to dismantle systems of limitation, and to awaken those who have been spiritually asleep. You carry within you a light so radiant, so unconcealable, that no darkness can extinguish it. Your difference was never the obstacle, it was the evidence. It was proof that you were divinely marked. Proof that the calling upon your life was written into the blueprint of creation itself, long before your first breath ever entered your body. Proof that God, in His infinite wisdom, set you apart intentionally, not as an act of separation, but as an act of divine preparation. Chosen one, remember this: the world did not define you, it merely reacted to the greatness within you. Every rejection, every misunderstanding, every mislabeling was not a verdict against your worth. It was a reflection of how brightly your spirit illuminated the spaces it entered. The truth is, you were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be recognized by the divine. Chapter 2. The words they spoke against you became your awakening. The limitations words that others spoke over your life were never meant to define you. They were designed to refine you. The words that were hurled at you, the criticisms, the doubts, the careless judgments, were never meant to become the architecture of your identity. Instead, they served as mirrors, reflecting not who you are, but who you were always meant to discover yourself to be. Every insult, every dismissal, every attempt to make you feel small was not an indication of your inadequacy, but rather a revelation of how little they could perceive of your divine calling. Their inability to recognize your greatness was not a commentary on your worth. It was a measurement of the narrowness of their vision. Before you had even learned the language of your own soul, others tried to name you according to their understanding. They spoke not from wisdom, but from their wounds. They declared judgments not from discernment, but from fear. They formed opinions not from truth, but from the blindness of limited perception. And yet, for a time, you were expected to accept their words as truth, to carry their projections as though they were facts about your existence. But hear this clearly. The limits they placed upon you were never yours to bear. They were spiritual assignments, designed not to imprison you, but to strengthen the muscle of your spirit. Every moment of opposition was preparation. Every misunderstanding was a sharpening of your discernment. Every dismissal was a divine invitation to rise above dependency on human validation. The true test was never about what they said. It was always about what you would choose to believe. Would you align with the temporary voices of man, or would you stand firm in the eternal voice of God? Would you accept the identity others tried to force upon you, or would you ascend into the identity your soul has always known, the one that existed before the world ever tried to define you? Their rejection was not sent to destroy you, it was sent to awaken you. It was meant to drive you inward, to redirect your focus away from external approval and back toward divine affirmation. Every word that dismissed you was meant to push you toward the only source of validation that matters, the presence and voice of God Himself. Their disbelief became your discipline. Their doubt trained your spirit to trust divine direction, even when logic failed to comprehend the path ahead. Their judgment became the soil in which your emotional maturity and spiritual awareness began to grow. Through their misunderstanding, you learned resilience. Through their silence, you learned to speak with your spirit. Through their absence, you learned to depend on divine presence. You learned how to encourage yourself when no one else saw your worth. You learned how to stand tall even when no one applauded. You learned how to keep moving when no one supported your vision. You learned how to trust God's timing when no one understood your journey. This is why, now, you no longer crave the applause of the crowd. You no longer depend on external validation to confirm what heaven has already declared. You no longer require human approval to feel chosen. For the power within you does not come from those who see you. It comes from the one who sent you. They believe that by attempting to diminish you, by speaking words of limitation and projecting their doubts onto your life, they could somehow shrink the calling that God had placed within you. Yet the truth is that their efforts did not weaken you. They strengthened you. What they thought would confine your potential instead became the soil in which your purpose took deeper root. They imagined that excluding you, leaving you unseen or unacknowledged, would fracture your spirit, yet their exclusion only solidified your spiritual sovereignty and anchored your faith in the unshakable presence of God. They believed that by imposing their limits, by labeling your dreams as impossible and your vision as unrealistic, they could dictate the shape and trajectory of your life. Yet their declarations of limitation did not define you. Rather, they served as a divine reminder that your identity and your destiny are not determined by human opinion, but by the sovereign hand of God alone. Every time someone questioned your path, it was not a derailment, but a push deeper into trust, compelling you to anchor your faith in divine guidance. Every time someone dismissed your vision, it did not discourage you. It honed your discernment, sharpening your ability to distinguish between temporary opinions and eternal truth. Every time someone underestimated you, it did not defeat you. It increased your resilience, teaching you to rise stronger and more determined than before. The very battles, criticisms, and obstacles that they intended to use as instruments of destruction became, instead, the means through which God taught you to walk intimately with Him. Your knowledge of God was no longer abstract or borrowed from sermons, stories, or secondhand experiences. It became living, tangible, and undeniable. You came to know God through survival, through tears shed in secret, through nights when you had to hold yourself together in the darkness, through endurance that only faith could sustain. What they intended to break, God transformed into the foundation of your wisdom. What they intended to silence, God ignited into the fire of your voice. What they intended to limit, God revealed as undeniable evidence that your spirit is unstoppable, uncontainable, and divinely appointed. So hear this with clarity and conviction. You were never defined by their words, their judgments, or their attempts to restrain you. On the contrary, you were revealed by them. Every limitation they spoke, every attempt to hold you back, was a test of your faith and resilience. And the rise that has emerged from that testing, the triumph that has grown from that opposition, is the resounding answer. A testament to your divine calling, your unbreakable spirit, and the destiny that no human voice can alter. Chapter 3. You were born to rise beyond the ordinary. From the earliest moments of your existence, your spirit has carried an undeniable knowing, a subtle, persistent awareness that you were destined for more than the ordinary, more than the life that others seem to accept as normal. Even as a child, long before you could articulate it, there was a quiet whisper within you. I am not like everyone else. You could not explain why you felt this way, nor could you justify it to those around you. Yet the feeling persisted. It did not arise from ego, pride, or self-importance. Rather, it was the pure and unmistakable language of spiritual awareness, a sacred intuition that set you apart from the crowd. You experienced life on a level deeper than most could perceive. Where others saw triviality, you felt intensity. Where others were satisfied with shallow conversation, routine, and distraction, you hungered for depth, meaning, and authenticity. There was always a sense that the world contained a higher purpose, a greater design, a divine plan beyond what the eye could see. Your soul remembered what your mind had not yet discovered. It sensed possibilities, potential, and truth that others were blind to. You observed the world differently, not merely for what it was, but for what it could become. You could look into the eyes of another human being and feel the weight of their unspoken pain. You could enter a room and sense the mood, the tension, the atmosphere, even before a word was spoken or an action was taken. Knowledge, understanding, and insight came to you, not through reasoning alone, but through perception, intuition, and the subtle stirring of your spirit. You just knew. And though you could not always explain how, you trusted that knowing. While others could be content with noise, distraction, routine, and the comfort of conformity, your spirit was restless. You felt called to something beyond the ordinary. You felt drawn to a higher path, a greater mission, a life with meaning that extended far beyond the limitations of what the world could offer. Your inner voice spoke with persistence, urging you to rise, to search, and to pursue the extraordinary. There were times when you tried to conform. There were moments when you attempted to silence that inner voice, to suppress the calling of your spirit, to be what others wanted you to be, merely to feel accepted. Loneliness accompanied this attempt, for being different can feel isolating. And yet, no matter how much you tried to blend in, some undeniable spark within you refused to disappear. You were never designed to conform. You were designed to stand out. Your soul would not allow you to settle for less than what it knew you were meant for. Every time you attempted to dim your light in order to make others comfortable, your spirit grew restless, uneasy, and insistent. Every time you tried to shrink yourself to gain acceptance or avoid conflict, your gift, the very essence of your divine purpose, began to ache within you. That inner discomfort was not a flaw, nor a mistake. It was divine. It was your calling, speaking through your spirit, attempting to break through the limitations of your environment. It was God, gently but insistently, nudging you toward your destiny. You were made for more. Your spirit has always known it, and no matter how long it takes for your understanding to catch up, your soul will never settle until it rises to the life for which it was created. A life of purpose, significance, and divine alignment beyond what the ordinary could ever contain. Even in the depths of your darkest moments, when shadows of doubt clouded your mind, when you questioned your worth, when you felt disoriented by the twists of your path or overwhelmed by the weight of life itself, there burned within you a persistent flame that refused to be extinguished. It was a quiet strength that did not need recognition, a silent knowing that did not require explanation, a sacred memory imprinted upon your spirit long before you ever understood its significance. Your soul already knew the truth of your identity before your lips could articulate it, before your mind could grasp it fully, And even before the trials and tribulations of life sought to bury it, or pain attempted to erase it from your consciousness. You were marked by God from the very beginning. Your uniqueness, the qualities that set you apart from others, was never an accident or a flaw. It was evidence of divine intentionality. Your intuition, the subtle yet undeniable pull toward truth, was a signal guiding you toward your purpose. Your inner yearning, the restlessness that never allowed you to settle for the ordinary, was the unmistakable calling of your destiny. You did not become chosen in the course of your life. You were chosen before you even entered this world, before your first breath, before your existence was fully known to anyone around you. And now the appointed time has arrived. The knowing that has always lived quietly within you is growing louder, more insistent, impossible to ignore. The pull toward your divine purpose is becoming stronger, pressing upon your spirit with a force that will not allow delay. Alignment is occurring, whether or not you feel prepared, whether or not the world around you has caught up, whether or not your circumstances seem to support it. Your spirit is awakening to the truth it has always carried. You were meant for far more than mere survival. You were meant to rise beyond limitation. You were meant to lead with authority, courage, and wisdom. You were meant to awaken others to their own potential. You were created not merely to exist within the confines of this world, but to walk in alignment with divine purpose, to live intentionally, powerfully, and fully aware of the destiny embedded within your soul. This moment is not the beginning of something entirely new. It is the return to the truth of who you have always been. It is the reclamation of your identity, the resurgence of your calling, and the awakening of a life that was never meant to be ordinary. You were made for more. You were made to rise. You were made to lead. You were made to fulfill the purpose that God has written into the very core of your being. Chapter 4. Every battle was a test of your calling. Beloved chosen one, understand this clearly. The struggles, trials, and battles you have faced throughout your life were never random, and they were never merely personal. The warfare that appeared in your life did not come as a result of weakness, failure, or wrongdoing on your part. Rather, these battles were deliberate, strategic, and deeply spiritual, targeting the very essence of who you were destined to become. The attacks on your mind, your peace, your sense of identity, and even your relationships were not accidents. They were calculated attempts to challenge the power and potential that God placed within you from the very beginning. You were not being tested because you were fragile. You were being targeted because you are powerful. Long before you fully understood your calling, darkness recognized it. Long before you grasped the light within you, the enemy saw it and sought to diminish it. The purpose written into your spirit, the mission that echoed through heaven before your birth, rang out in the spirit realm and drew opposition from forces determined to slow or stop its fulfillment. And so, you experienced what others could not comprehend. You battled depression while those around you seemed carefree. You carried emotional burdens far heavier than your age, circumstances, or environment could justify. You wrestled with thoughts, fears, and pressures that most people never even encounter. This was not coincidence. This was not bad luck. This was not merely life's hardships. From the very beginning, you were engaged in spiritual warfare, and the challenges you faced were direct attempts by the enemy to hinder the fulfillment of your divine assignment. The enemy sought to attack your mind because it is the vessel in which God plants revelation. He sought to distort your identity because your identity forms the foundation of your calling. He sought to disrupt your relationships because your connections carry spiritual significance. He sought to diminish your confidence because your voice carries authority, influence, and power. And when he could not reach you directly, he used everything at his disposal: family dynamics, upbringing, insecurities, and even the people closest to you, as instruments to test, challenge, and attempt to break you. Yet every battle, every attack, and every moment of heaviness was not a reflection of who you were in the present. These struggles were aimed at the version of you that was emerging, the future you that would no longer be enslaved by emotions, manipulated by guilt, or held captive by the chains of the past. The enemy targeted the person you were becoming, the one who would rise with clarity, wisdom, and authority, the one whose confidence would no longer be dimmed, the one whose voice would carry power, the one who would step fully into God's purpose, unshaken by the attempts to derail it. From the very start, the opposition you faced was not about who you were in the moment. It was about who you were called to become. Your battles, though painful and exhausting, were not punishments. They were evidence that God had marked you for greatness. They were confirmation that your calling is significant, unstoppable, and divinely orchestrated. The warfare you endured was spiritual, not personal, and it prepared you to walk fully into the destiny that the enemy attempted to obstruct but could never overcome. But there is one truth, beloved chosen one, that you must never forget under any circumstance. You survived. You endured trials, breakdowns, and seasons of difficulty that would have overwhelmed or broken many others. Yet you emerged intact. You walked through periods of silence and stillness, times when even the presence of God felt distant, as if heaven itself were quiet. And still, through all of it, you maintained faith. You persevered through nights when your spirit was weary, your hope nearly extinguished, and your heart heavy with exhaustion. Yet despite everything, there was something within you, a resilient spark, a quiet flame, a divine tenacity that refused to surrender, that refused to give in, that refused to bow to despair. Your survival is not trivial. It is not a small victory. Your survival is living proof of divine protection, evidence that the hand of God has guided, shielded, and preserved you throughout every trial. Had the enemy possessed the power to destroy you, he would have done so. Yet he did not, and he could not, and he never will. Your endurance is a testament that your life has been under the direct care of God, even when circumstances suggested otherwise. Even in the midst of pain, confusion, and isolation, every challenge you faced was not designed to crush you, but to prepare you. You were not being defeated. You were being forged. You were being refined. You were being strengthened and awakened to the fullness of your purpose. Every hardship, every moment of despair, every test and trial was carefully orchestrated to shape you into the person you were always meant to become. You did not merely survive the battlefield, you transcended it. You outgrew the very circumstances that were once intended to confine, diminish, or define you. And now, beloved, the very forces that once sought to break you, the same opposition that sought to silence your light, derail your path, and extinguish your spirit, now stand in awe and even fear. They recognize that you have finally awakened to your true identity, that you have come into the power and authority that was always yours. You know who you are. You understand your calling. You walk with clarity, strength, and divine alignment. What once sought to destroy you has now revealed the magnitude of your resilience and the unstoppable nature of your spirit. Chapter 5. You are rising above every limit. Beloved chosen one, now is the appointed moment in your life when God is actively removing every limitation, every barrier, and every restriction that has ever been placed upon you. This is the pivotal point where your story begins to shift dramatically. A divine transition from struggle to strength, from waiting to walking, from merely holding on to rising victoriously. You have endured trials that would have crushed ordinary people. You have survived storms that were intended to shatter your faith. You have stood in battles unseen by the human eye. Yet every tear you shed, every silent prayer you whispered, every moment your heart grew weary, God witnessed it all. God felt the weight of your exhaustion and honored the perseverance of your spirit, and now heaven is responding. This is not simply a change in season. This is a spiritual reversal, a divine reordering of everything that once sought to limit your life. Every restriction ever placed upon your identity, your voice, your dreams, your blessings, and your purpose is being dismantled, removed piece by piece. The lies that were spoken over you are being nullified. The insecurities that once held dominion over your mind and emotions are losing their grip. The fears that once paralyzed your progress are being replaced with courage and boldness. The generational patterns that sought to repeat themselves in your life are breaking permanently. Doors that were previously blocked are now swinging open. Opportunities that were long delayed are returning to you. God is elevating you above every force, every circumstance, and every person that attempted to suppress your potential. You are stepping into a version of yourself that no human experience could have prepared you for. You are no longer fighting to prove your worth to others. You are no longer seeking permission to occupy your God-given space. You are no longer accepting anything less than the fullness of what God has placed within you. Your spirit has expanded, your faith has grown stronger, your vision has become clearer, your strength has deepened. And as the transformation occurs on the inside, the external world must align with it. When God elevates His chosen, He elevates swiftly. What takes others years to accomplish will manifest for you in months. What takes others months will unfold for you in weeks. When God says now, delay loses all authority and acceleration begins. However, elevation also requires separation. As you rise, there will be people, environments, habits, and patterns that no longer align with your spirit. You are not abandoning them arbitrarily. You are leaving behind the version of yourself that once conformed to limitations, insecurities, and past pain. Some connections were bound to your struggle rather than your purpose. Some relationships were connected to your insecure self, not the fully healed and empowered version of you. Some people only knew the version of you who had yet to recognize your worth. They are unable to meet the fullness of the person God is revealing now. Beloved, this is your appointed time for release, expansion, and divine elevation. Every limit that once sought to contain you is falling away. Every chain that attempted to bind you is breaking. Every voice that tried to diminish your calling is being silenced. You are stepping fully into the destiny that God has ordained, into the version of yourself that is aligned, empowered, and unstoppable. Now, beloved chosen one, understand this clearly. You are not losing anything in this divine transition. What is happening is not deprivation, but liberation. You are shedding everything that is incapable of accompanying you into the fullness of the life God has prepared for you. You are leaving behind what no longer aligns with your spirit, what no longer serves your purpose, and what cannot ascend to the destiny God has already spoken over you. You are stepping into a life that fully matches the greatness that God has planted within your soul. A life in which your spirit, your gifts, and your calling can operate without obstruction or compromise. Everything that once weighed heavily upon your heart, that once burdened your mind, that once made the path feel impossible, will begin to feel light. Everything that once caused confusion, doubt, or hesitation will begin to make perfect sense. As clarity emerges from the alignment of your spirit with divine purpose, the paths that once appeared blocked, obstructed, or delayed will open with surprising ease, revealing corridors of opportunity and promise that you had long believed were inaccessible. The blessings that once seemed distant, that once appeared beyond your reach, will arrive unexpectedly without announcement as a testament to God's perfect timing and faithfulness. Hear this, chosen one. Your days of being underestimated are now over. Your days of being overlooked, ignored, or dismissed are coming to an end. The seasons in which you merely survived are giving way to seasons in which you will rise, flourish, and walk confidently in alignment with the destiny God ordained for you from the beginning. You are moving into a reality where the limitations that once constrained you are shattering. The chains that once bound you are falling away. The obstacles that once blocked your path are being removed. The blessings that were once delayed are now unfolding with supernatural speed. Nothing on this earth, no person, no circumstance, no force of opposition can halt the fulfillment of what God has already declared over your life. Beloved chosen one, this is your elevation, your breakthrough. This is your rise, the moment in which all that God has spoken, all that God has promised, and all that God has prepared is coming to fruition. Every step you take from this point forward is aligned with heaven's plan for you, and every promise that has been dormant in your spirit will now manifest, fully and powerfully, in the earthly realm. Chapter 6. Distancing is part of divine elevation. Elevation requires separation. Don't be surprised if you feel distant from people you once loved. Don't be surprised if conversations that used to excite you now feel empty. Don't be surprised if places you once ran to no longer feel like home. This is not confusion. This is transformation. God is not isolating you to punish you. He is isolating you to reveal you. He is removing noise so you can hear His voice clearly. He is removing distractions so your spirit can rise. He is letting go of attachments that were tied to your old identity. Some people cannot go where you are going. It's not because they are bad, it's because their spirit is connected to an earlier version of you. Some friends only knew the you who was unsure. Some relationships only worked when you were trying to be what others wanted. Now that you are stepping into purpose, those connections no longer fit. Some environments cannot support who you are becoming. Your soul has outgrown certain rooms. Your mind has outgrown certain conversations. Your spirit has outgrown the expectations others placed on you. You may feel alone, but you are not abandoned. You are being separated so you can see clearly. You are being separated so you can hear God without interference. You are being separated so you can rise without anyone dimming your light. Your calling needs space to grow. Your purpose needs protection in its early stages. Your spirit needs silence to strengthen. Your destiny needs separation to prepare. Just like a seed must be buried before it grows, you are being hidden. Just like an eagle leaves the flock to learn to fly, you are being stretched. Just like gold is refined by fire, you are being purified for your next level. This isolation is not a loss, it is a promotion. God is saying, I am preparing you for something greater. You are not being pulled away. You are being lifted higher. You are not being forgotten. You are being set apart. You are not being replaced. You are being positioned. The silence is full of instruction. The distance is not rejection. It is redirection. The separation is not the end. It is the beginning of your rise. You are being shaped in the unseen so you can be revealed in the right time. I am strengthening your voice, refining your purpose, and sharpening your discernment. What feels like isolation now will soon be preparation. When I bring you into your next season, you will understand why everyone could not come with you. You are not behind. You are being aligned. Every quiet moment is shaping your spirit into who you were always meant to be. The new version of you needs clarity, depth, and spiritual maturity. This separation is the doorway to the life God promised you. Chosen one, this season is not for everyone. This season is for you. Chapter 7. Move boldly into your new season in alignment with God's plan. Chosen one, take a deep breath and recognize how far you have come, further than most people will ever understand or even realize. Your journey has been challenging, and it was never meant to be easy because true warriors are not formed in comfort. They are forged in fire. You, chosen one, have walked through the flames of life and emerged radiant, not burned. The season you are stepping into now is extraordinary. It is intentional. It is not random, nor is it the result of coincidence, luck, or chance. This is divine timing, the fulfillment of prophecy that was written over your life before you were ever placed in your mother's womb. You are entering a season where you no longer shrink to fit others' expectations. You will no longer apologize for your anointing. You will no longer dim your light to make others feel secure. You will no longer pretend to be less than the person God has revealed you to be. Every experience of your life has prepared you for this moment. Every time you felt ignored, you were being preserved. Every time you felt overlooked, God was protecting you. Every time you felt misunderstood, your spirit was growing beyond the comprehension of those around you. You were never behind. You were being cultivated and refined. And now the unveiling begins. This is not the time to lower your head or question your worth. This is the time to rise. Walk with the confidence of one who is chosen. Speak with authority as one who is chosen. Move decisively as one who is chosen. Pray boldly as one who is chosen. Decide firmly as one who is chosen, because you truly are. Your steps are ordered, your path is cleared, and your spirit is awakened. Your calling is active. God is elevating you above the labels that were placed upon you, above every limitation that was spoken over your life, and above every environment that tried to keep you small. You feel it. Your soul is lighter, your spirit is stronger, and your mind is clearer. You are beginning to see life from a higher perspective, the perspective that God intended for you all along. This elevation is not about titles, fame, or recognition. It is inner elevation. It is spiritual elevation. It is the elevation of your identity, your purpose, and your calling. You are rising into the fullness of who God created you to be, and nothing can hold back what has already been ordained for you. Once you truly know who you are, no one can control you. Once you recognize your value, no one can manipulate you. Once you understand your divine assignment, nothing can distract you. This is why the enemy fought so fiercely against you. This is why the attacks you endured felt so personal. This is why betrayal came from those you trusted most. This is why isolation followed when all you longed for was connection. The enemy was never trying to destroy who you are. He was trying to prevent the fullness of who you were created to become. But his efforts failed. You are still standing. You are stronger, wiser, more self-aware, spiritually grounded, and aligned with your God-given purpose more than ever before. Now your elevation must be matched by your posture. Lift your head, relax your shoulders, straighten your back. Walk with the confidence of one whose every step is backed by heaven. Your presence has changed. People will notice. Some will admire it, some will fear it, some will be intimidated, some may attempt to return once they recognize who you have become. But not everyone who knew you in your old season deserves access to your new season. You cannot ascend while carrying the dead weight of those who refuse to grow. So walk forward with grace, with quiet confidence, not to prove yourself, not to impress anyone, and not to gain approval. Walk forward simply because you have become the version of yourself that God always intended. Chosen one, this is your rise, this is your unveiling, this is your elevation, this is your appointed time. Do not step timidly into this season. Walk boldly because you belong here. You are not defined by what the world said about you. You are defined by what God has always known you to be. Do not second-guess yourself any longer. Do not dilute your gifts to make others comfortable. Do not apologize for the light God placed inside of you. The world may have told you that your voice was too loud, but now your voice is required. The world may have called your heart too soft, but now your heart is your greatest strength. Everything they tried to use against you is being transformed into the very tools God is using to elevate you. Your life is shifting from mere survival to divine purpose, from endurance to full expression, from hiding to being seen, from silence to influence, from waiting on God to actively walking with Him. You are no longer preparing for your breakthrough. You are becoming the breakthrough. You are the open door. You are the answered prayer. You are the generational shift. You are the one who accomplishes what others could not. You are rising into the fullness of all God intended you to be. Thanks for watching. Here ends this prophetic message. If you're eager for more, whether additional chapters to this spiritual journey or a powerful visual concept for a video or thumbnail, simply just say the word. I'm here and am ready to help bring it all to life.